everyone, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, and we're the program that loves to look after your mental health and well-being. Now, today's special program is all about 4 women who each have a moving story. They are Jade Dee, Kay Walker, and Wilnona Marie, who are co-writers of And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, a self-help collection of poems and stories for survivors of domestic abuse. And I'll also be joined by Glenda Stepney, who joined the ladies to co-author the book And I Thought He Was the One. They will tell us about the abuse they each have suffered, how they overcame their abuse, as well as their advice for those who might be out there that are suffering in silence. Let's get to meet them straight away. So welcome to the show, Jade, Kay, Wilnona, and Glenda. Lovely to have you on, ladies.
Lovely to be here.
Now, you each have a deep story, so we're going to try and get through as much as we can, everybody. So we're going to actually concentrate on one lady per part of the show, but obviously, you know, the stories do vary. But what I'd like to hear from you, actually, ladies, is obviously the stuff that you went through that was really difficult, because I know there are viewers watching that are going through something themselves, that could be going through something or have been through something in the past. And even though maybe the abuse isn't happening anymore, but it's still affecting them in some way. So we're going to start off with you, my darling, Jade. So your situation was a little bit different. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, when I was 18, I was going to actually a party with my friend and her fiance, and he was just being so mean to her, just saying like just evil things to her. And I was like, excuse me, I don't care how bad your day was, how late we are to this party, what is going on. You cannot speak to someone like that.
When you say mean stuff, like what?
Like, you're always making me late because you're so dumb and slow, and you always make it behind, and you should rode the short bus. That's not nice.
Had you heard that before? Had he treated her like that before? Was that the first time?
It was really like the first time he went in depth with it. I mean, sometimes we all say mean things to people that we love, but you don't go in like that.
Okay, and what did you do?
So I said, you have to stop this. I mean, you have to think about what you're saying and stop this. And then I found myself being dragged out of the car by my hair. Literally, I had bald spot. He ripped it out from right here. I had no hair. I got punched in the face, big lip, black eye, just beat up for standing up for my friend.
Wow. Well, I mean, what went through your mind? Obviously, it was shock, but when that started happening?
What is going on? And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. What is going on? Why would you treat me this way? And then to add to matters, you just left us on the side of a dark country road. We knew nobody, and it's a dark country, a dark country road, and never came back. So we had to walk and find somewhere and call somebody. Thank goodness that my uncle lived in that area and came and picked us up.
Wow. And so after that incident, did your friend decide to break up the relationship, or was it kind of like? Unfortunately,
no. I think he had just gotten to her mind so much that she didn't understand what was going on. And I never left my friend in the lurch. I said, well, you know what? Okay, this is fine. I'm just going to stand by her. And hopefully that was a one-time thing. And of course it wasn't. And so I stood by her, and I totally helped her escape when she was ready.
Okay. So what kind of period was it from that incident to when she actually left?
About 2.5 years.
Wow. Wow, that's a long time.
But you can't drag someone out of a situation. Yeah. You have to wait for them to wake up. And I'm just happy that I was able to see that my friend was in danger. She was literally living a Lifetime movie. She was literally living something that was so horrible. I'm just so happy that I'm grateful that I didn't give up on her.
Okay. Now, just a question for all of you. I mean, I don't know who wants to answer this, but obviously, as a friend, you would want your friend to break up with the person immediately if you see something, if you experience something like that. Why do you think it is that women do stay, or men even, in these kind of relationships, even though these kind of things are happening? What's your opinion?
I believe that first and foremost is what she said, is they get to your mind. And so, and part of you really does believe that what they're saying is right. They always say, oh, you're not going to have another person as good as me. And you look around and you recognize they are a pretty nice person. You start to think, well, they're nice. I see their positive attributes. And even when someone from the outside sees something as demeaning, when they're saying it to you, it's in a logical manner. Well, you've done this, so that caused this action, which means that you are now stupid because this is your consequence of your action.
They kind of make you believe that what's happened makes sense and it should have happened and it's your fault.
Exactly. It's almost like living in an alternate reality, and if someone else could look in, they would be like, that's insane. But since you're in the epicenter, you never see it.
Okay.
I also think that people are in love. Oh, I love this person, and I think that we're inclined to make excuses for them because we care about them and we love them, and we make excuses. Oh, well, they're having a bad day, or you make these allowances because you feel like, oh, I love them, they're just having a bad day. You know, it's not going to keep being like this, and then it just becomes a habit before you know it, and you've wasted years of your life.
And also with in terms of friendship, and I think it's great that you stayed with your friend and you didn't just say, well, if you're stupid to stay with this person, I'm not going to be your friend anymore, which sometimes unfortunately happens. But like you said, you can't force a friend or a loved one to actually leave the person, because if you do, they could end up going back, right? So it's important that that decision comes from them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Fear is a big thing, you know. I don't have anything. What do I do if I leave? So fear holds a lot of people back.
Okay, yeah. And I suppose, you know, you have to understand your friends' fears as well, because, you know, you're not living in her shoes and you don't know what's gonna happen. Okay.
I would like to add, it wasn't easy though. It wasn't an easy decision on my part. I was really fuming mad, but you have to just be like, well, you know, do I love my friend? Would they stay in there with me? Yeah, they would stay in there with me, so I'd have to stay in there with them.
Have you had to help any other friends, Jade?
Yes, actually, I don't know. I guess it's my blessing or curse. I don't know which one it is. But I had another friend, and she was in a physically abusive relationship, and actually we hadn't really talked since high school. And then one day I saw her, and I was so happy to see her. I was like, oh, what's going on? Blah, blah. And then she was telling me all this stuff, and I said, oh my goodness, what? You have to leave. And she's like, oh, I can't leave. And I said, okay, how about I develop a plan? Okay, so, you know, like, when does your husband work? From this time to this time. Okay, I'm gonna come over. And then I went and I knocked on her neighbor's doors, and I said, if you see her face, I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, open your door and let her in.
Okay.
And let her call me. I will come get her. I promise you I will come get her. Don't let anyone else in the house. Just please. She's in a bad way, please. Until someone actually did. They actually let her in. She called me, and I came and got her, and it was like down the street, so that was fortunate because I didn't want him to follow me or anything.
Okay.
But then she got out of that situation, and I was so happy for her.
Wow. That's really powerful stuff. Okay, so I know we've got a lot more to get through, so we're going to go to a quick break, guys, and then after the break we're going to go to your story, Kay, and you're going to tell us what happened to you, because yours was, I mean, all the stories are shocking, but yours in particular, what happened to you was really like, I don't know how you dealt with that, but we're going to find out right after this break.
Okay. You know,
Or did you?
I did.
Took a while?
I did. Trying to find forgiveness for him, to not hate him.
Okay.
To get rid of the negativity.
Yeah. It was hard. It's okay. Welcome back to the program, everyone. So I've been speaking to 4 lovely ladies all the way from America about their stories involving abuse. So we've heard from Jade. Now, Jade actually helped 2 friends out. Both her friends went through abuse, and she was there for them, stuck by them, and helped them to leave those relationships when they were ready. And now we're going to be hearing Jade's Kay's story. Now, Kay, your story was quite different. This was actually involving yourself and abuse. Tell us when the abuse started for you.
I'd entered a relationship with a man that I was over the moon for, and was the first time I really let myself fall in love with someone.
Okay.
And he had some very nice qualities about him. He wasn't all bad, but
what were the nice things about him?
He had a good heart in that he would see someone in need. He had a particular softness in his heart for the homeless and veterans, and even though he himself didn't have a lot, he would, want to give what he could, especially during like the colder seasons.
Sounds like a dream.
Yeah. So I mean, he had, those were nice qualities about him, and family was very important to him, and he would do anything for his kids if he could. He always tried. So he had some good traits, but he also had some very bad traits. He was a gambler. He had a lot of abuse in his life, which I think kind of trickled down.
Okay.
And eventually it opened up in our relationship. So it was emotional abuse, in that he would always tell me that I was out cheating on him, and he would like plant ideas in my head about, he had particular, I guess you would call them fetishes, like in the sexual way, and he was always trying to see if I would do this or do that, or like have multiple men at the same time, and I was like, no, and that was, it was just like little things that I ignored, and I loved him.
How far into the relationship did you start noticing these things? I mean, was he sort of okay for a while, and then you started to notice little things, or was it from the start?
It had passed a little bit. It was probably more than a year into the relationship.
Okay.
So it wasn't like it didn't come out right away.
All right.
But
which is worse, isn't it? It's even, because I mean, any abuse at any time is bad, but when things have been okay and then all of a sudden these little things start happening, it's confusing.
Yeah, and I got invested. His family loved me and I loved them. He had 2 kids that, I ended up loving, and because he had a difficult time holding a job because of his PTSD, on top of being a gambler. So I ended up doing a lot of things for the kids, birthdays, holidays, stuff like that, where he wouldn't have anything. I would, give him money or purchase it and say it was from him, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of hard that way.
When did it get really bad, Kay, with him?
Well, I went back and forth because I'm the one that you would never imagine that I would put up with something like that. I'm kind of tough that way. And my friends were like, what? You did what? You endured what? I can't believe you put up with that. But probably about 4 years into the relationship, it kind of went to another level, and it was on the downhill. Like I was at the point where I was getting tired of not being appreciated, being taken advantage of, hearing the begging for money because they're gonna break my legs because I borrowed this money and I need to, so it was like goading me into feeling sorry for him in order to help him. It was just a lot of different little things that built up over the years.
Was it mainly emotional and mental?
It was. Okay. And then, and there was a little sexual abuse. He had his fetishes, things that I didn't necessarily want to partake of, but when certain things, I would indulge, and then it was like, oh, you did it once, so now I want you to do it all the time. And I was like, no. And so I was having that mental battle.
Okay, yeah.
I need to leave him, but I love him. He really loves me. He says he's not gonna be ready. He's not gonna put a ring on his finger because he's just not there. He can't support me. And I was like, oh, I can wait. But so that mental battle was going on, and it culminated. I was out having a good time with some friends, and I called him to come pick me up because I wasn't going to drink and drive. And the whole ride home, I there were a couple guys who were obviously interested, and they were like hanging out and waiting for me to be picked up. And so I got the, what were you thinking? And those guys would have raped you. You don't know what they would have done to you. And basically a lot of derogatory things about what I should or shouldn't be doing. And so then we went home, and he decided to stay the night. And while we were home being intimate, he like started again. And of course I kind of was like, you know, we're being intimate and you're going on and being a jerk all of a sudden. And so we started to argue, and he backhanded me pretty much across the room and ended up giving me a concussion. Wow. We didn't know it at the time, but it ended up, I had like blood in my ears. The doctor said it was like an extremely forceful blow, not only just to have the concussion, but then to actually have blood in like on the eardrum. And so I called the police, and I was the one who ended up getting arrested.
Why?
Because I was crazy, because I had alcohol on my breath, because I don't know why. They were just like...
But they didn't see the state that you were in and what had happened to you?
No, because I had no physical evidence of having been hit or...
Who had called the police?
I did.
You had called the police?
I had called the police.
And you told them what had happened?
I told them what happened.
And you got arrested?
And I'm the one who got arrested.
And what happened to your partner?
Nothing. Because he had defensive wounds on him for me fighting back. And I had nothing on me.
That's absolutely...
And then they wouldn't, you know, sometimes it takes a minute for the nausea and so forth. So they had me in the car locked up, and then I was like, I really don't feel good. And they were like, it's too late. We can't take you to the hospital. We're going to jail. So I didn't end up getting medical attention for like 12 hours.
So you stayed the night in jail?
Yep.
You did?
Yeah, it was probably like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning maybe that I got arrested, and then I didn't get out until like 10 p.m. the following day.
Goodness. And then what happened after that?
Well, we had to do court and all that, and I went through therapy, got on some antidepressants, and I had to leave my house.
Yeah.
The commissioner presumed that we lived together, so I was not allowed to go back to my home for like the period of time that was stipulated. So I ended up like crashing with my sister for a couple of weeks, and in that time I had to hunt for a house and had to move out of the apartment building because we lived in the same apartment building.
So is that when the relationship completely ended, that you decided to go and that was it?
It was. I still allowed him in my life a little bit, you know, because I had to butter him up and make sure. I told him he owed me when it came to going to court. Okay. You know, basically, he didn't press charges, the state did. Because they were the ones who arrested me, since I was the one who called. It was actually the officer it was his decision to arrest me, so it was the state against me.
But you must have felt so betrayed, like you thought you've reached out for help and then all that happens.
Yeah,
adds to the trauma.
I was shocked, and I just shut up. Like, I just shut down. Like, they didn't even tell me what they were doing. They like made me get dressed, and I live on the 3rd floor, no elevator, so we walked down. Okay. And until we were down and out of the apartment building did they tell me, oh, well, you know, we're arresting you for second-degree assault. It was a lot.
Okay, let's fast forward now. So the relationship ended. How did you pick yourself up after that?
You know...
Or did you?
I did. Trying to find forgiveness for him, to not hate him. Okay. To get rid of the negativity.
Yeah. It was hard. It's okay. You okay to carry on?
Sorry.
That's okay, don't worry. Obviously, look, it's difficult stuff that you're talking about. And, you know, sometimes when we talk about these things, it's hard. The memories come back. But it's really good that you're speaking about it, because it's so important for other people to hear what you went through and how you beat it as well.
And I'm not a person. I don't want to be in the negative. I don't like effectively. When I really ended it with him, it wasn't just him. I had to get rid of all the negative.
Yeah.
It was about being positive, giving people the opportunity to be positive, telling them what I was doing, and moving on. Not to let it keep me down. I'm not going. I'm a survivor. I don't want to be a victim. I'm not going to let that rule my life.
And you didn't, did you?
No.
She's a super positive
That's what I'm saying.
She really do. And like people are like, oh, I miss you and this and that. I'm like, no, I don't want to be around the negativity. If you can't be positive, if you're always complaining, if that negative energy is always coming off of you, I can't be around it. He was such a downer, and then like once I cut him off, I just realized what a heavy weight was lifted off of me.
This is the thing, because sometimes you can be in a situation and you don't realize how heavy you feel until you're actually away from that. I mean, you know something's wrong, but you don't realize maybe the extent of that wrong and how much it's pushing you down and how much it's sucking the life and energy out of you until you're actually away from that. And then you experience this new life that you didn't have before. And it's like, oh my God, this is, though it was hard, you know, to break off, because obviously the whole family you loved the family as well and everything. And there's so many things that you had to give up. But then to come out on the other side and then feel what it's like to be free.
Exactly.
Really. Wow.
And so that's what I try to do. I try to be positive, and I try to be happy, and do what I do. And I do a lot of volunteer work now. I've started my own business. I own my own home, and you know, I'm not rich, but I'm happy.
And I'm so happy for you, because, you know, I mean, your story is really powerful, because, you know, a lot of people are in these situations and they just don't know how to break free. But it shows that there was a point where you actually loved yourself and valued yourself enough to actually say no, even though it was hard. And you were sort of, I suppose, jumping in the darkness, really, because you didn't know what your life would become without him and without everything else. But you did it, and that shows how much important it is to love ourselves and to value ourselves, isn't it? It
was a long lesson, hard lesson,
but you learned from it. That's the important thing, and now you're actually sharing the story with others to inspire them as well. Wonderful.
Inspire them to move on, yes.
We're not going to let you go away, any of you, because we're going to go to a quick break, and then Wilnona, it's your turn. You're going to tell us your story, okay? And you know, and then obviously we're going to speak to Glenda as well, because you all have, you know, though it was very difficult situations that you all went through, but you've managed to turn things around, and that's absolutely wonderful. So guys, join us after this.
There was stuff under my mattress to protect myself. My brother-in-law, he gave me something like that looked like a sword to protect myself. I mean, stuff in the car. I never left home without something in my sock. Or when he's on the highs, it's spontaneous trips to Las Vegas. Hey, sweetie, let's spend 20 grand on Dubai. I mean, you know, it's awesome. When it went the other way, it was, I called someone to kill you. It was, I tried to beat you with a bat as you came in the house. It was throwing you out the house and you didn't have clothes on. It was that sort of stuff. I mean, it was trying to move into his ex-girlfriend. It was stand here and let me talk to this girl and say, because she's prettier than you and I want to show you what a pretty girl acts like.
Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. Today we are talking about surviving abuse. So I'm joined by my 4 lovely guests all the way from America. We have Jade, Kay, Wilnona and Glenda. So we've heard your stories. Thank you so much for sharing those. And guys, it is difficult to share these kind of things, but these lovely ladies are doing this in order to help you at home who may be going through something similar or have been through it and are still affected by it in some way. So Wilnona, tell us your situation. Now, your abuse started at quite a young age, didn't it?
Well, yes, I got married at a young age, so my abuse started at a young age. Honestly, I thought I was really in love and I had found my Prince Charming. He was 6 foot tall, very pale white, and blonde hair and blue eyes, and who can't fall in love with that? I wanted the muscles, but he didn't have that. But you take what you get.
Okay.
Anyway, he had many wonderful qualities. Many wonderful qualities.
That's what makes it so confusing, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He helped elderly people and he loved kids, and he treated his mother like she was a princess. And so I'd always been like, if you treat your mother like a princess, you will treat me like a princess.
We always hear that, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah. And I even got a chance to talk to his ex-girlfriends, and they were like, he is
You talked to his ex-girlfriends?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you really did your research?
Yes.
Tried to?
I always do. I mean, I was going to marry him. I mean, he put a ring on my finger. I had to know everything.
Yeah.
So I literally made an extra trip down there just to talk to his ex-girlfriends because they lived in a different state. So
what did they say about him?
Oh, one of them was telling me about the time where he filled the room full of balloons just because she liked pink balloons and she had a bad day at work and her kid had gotten sick. So she took care of the kid, paid for her to go to the spa, and let her walk into a room full of pink balloons of her favorite color.
So all good things that you
They were wonderful things. And then I married him, and I assumed I'd have the same wonderful treatment. Although I wasn't really looking at the red flags that were popping up.
What were the red flags?
Now, like just recently, because I do suffer from repressed memories on occasion. Not on occasion, quite. I suffer from repressed memories. So when I can remember stuff, it's kind of weird because it kind of just like hits you. I was standing in a mall parking lot and I was walking out, and I never go to this mall, and I always had a horrible feeling about the mall. But when I walked out, I just kind of remembered the entire thing of, I walked out of the mall and we had this argument over spending money. And I felt that what we were going to purchase, it was for me, it was worthwhile. We were dating at the time. And he didn't feel that. So he said he was going to go to the car. But it was my money, so I did what I didn't want it to do, you know? And when I walked out, he was driving off. And I was about an hour away from my house.
Okay.
And I was like, why is he driving off? And then he did come back. I stood there for 20 minutes and he came back and he just wanted to explain to me, I did this because you need to listen and kind of like obey. If you're going to be my wife, you need to like listen and obey what I say. But if you're not going to do that, there will be consequences. And I was like, well, that doesn't quite make sense. And something is really off with that. But I guess I could kind of understand. I mean, it is the whole wife thing. I should have, listened to him about the budget. We're going to share finances together. I mean, I feel that you reacted a bit too much. It was a little over the top, but, we'll work on that. Yeah, we'll work on the reaction and I'll work on the budget. And he was like, okay, that works. I'll, try to control myself and you try to control the budget. And that actually worked out fine. But now that I look back and I'm like, no one does that. No one treats you like you're 2 years old.
No.
Exactly.
And were there lots of instances, similar instances?
I'm so sorry, but I only remember a few.
Okay.
I'm told by other people there were. My mom and my dad were around at that time and they knew him, and they'll tell me about stuff and I'll be like, that happened? So I spent a lot of time trying to when it comes back, it comes back.
Okay.
Like it hits you like a whoo.
And how long ago did these things take place?
Oh, 8 years ago now, and they're still slowly
coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
They still actually, when I left that relationship, I couldn't remember people that I knew before the relationship, and now I remember them, but I don't remember the relationship as much. Anyway, that was interesting. That was a red flag. And so then after we got married, it was about 2 months after that, because during those 2 months, I was very, very obedient, by the way. Very obedient. And then after those 2 months, I just couldn't live with the budget he'd given me. $20 a month.
$20 a month?
Which would be about 17 pounds.
A month?
A month for gas, clothing, food, all that. Petro, I guess you would say. Clothing and food and all of that. I made it work for 2 months. And
really?
Yes.
Wow.
He required...
Very resourceful then.
Yes.
That she
You would not believe what she can do.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made almost everything work, and he wanted steak and lobster quite a bit. So it took a while to finagle that, but I found out about clearance meat. So meat that had to be gone, so that worked. But we had steak and lobster.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm sick all the time, and I'm like, but you got steak and lobster. Anyway, after that, I decided that I really needed to do something. So we tried to talk about the budget, and once again, the whole thing kind of blew up in my face. And one night he tried to suffocate me, but unfortunately, I kind of got a little scared of him. So I had something to hit him with. So I hit him with that, and he was like, "Oh my goodness, you hurt me so much." And I was like,
"Well, you
were suffocating me."
Yeah.
So at that time, I literally carried a fishing gear on me so that I would legally have a reason to carry a knife, a boner or a filleter, just because in a car he would blow up. Going down the road he could blow up, and he always would raise his hand, and I would always be like, "Oh, I have a fishing kit."
Goodness.
And so he's
you're
like,
just
all right.
living in fear then?
I just lived in fear the entire. There was stuff under my mattress to protect myself. My brother-in-law, he gave me something that looked like a sword to protect myself. I mean, stuff in the car. I never left home without something in my sock, because you never knew. You just
did you want to leave him at that point? Did you want to end the relationship, or was it maybe he's going to change, maybe he'll be different?
I thought he might change because he had undiagnosed bipolar, and then he went and got it diagnosed. And then he said he didn't need to be medicated. So when you swing, it's wonderful. I mean,
yeah.
When he's on the highs, it's spontaneous trips to Las Vegas. Hey, sweetie, let's spend 20 grand on Dubai. I mean, it's awesome. When it went the other way, it was, I called someone to kill you. It was, I tried to beat you with a bat as you came in the house. It was throwing you out the house and you didn't have clothes on. It was that sort of stuff. I mean, it was trying to move into his ex-girlfriend. It was stand here and let me talk to this girl and say, because she's prettier than you, and I want to show you what a pretty girl acts like, what a lady acts like. It was that. And I would just stand there and I'd be like, well, in just 8 more weeks. 8 more weeks to swing back, and maybe he'll stay this time.
No.
Why
wasn't he taking his medication?
He said he didn't need any.
So he couldn't actually see that his behavior was erratic and that he needed to be stabilized.
Exactly. He didn't see that until the day I actually called Jade, because she was the only person they knew of that would definitely have the gumption to be like, yo, I'm coming and I'm gonna stand up with you. And she was like, she had Kay's number in the background, by the way.
I really did.
Because as she said, she's the person you would never think would go through that, because she's the person that's gonna show up and be like, you ain't hitting my friend, So and then she bought, at the time, Jade bought her boyfriend at the time, and her boyfriend's friend, who was an avid hunter, bought his bow and arrow and double barrel shotgun. And they were like,
legally though.
It was all legal. Every last piece that they bought was legal.
Sorry, guys.
And they were like, today is the day they move out. And so I got my stuff, and my mother, who actually used to do a little boxing, she came up just in case.
Wow, you had some good backup.
Yeah, I have great backup.
Yeah.
Right, and she came up and we started getting us stuff, and she was like, we're gonna move this couch out because I bought it, bring that. And then I was like, no, on second thought.
Really? After all that?
I'm staying. So we moved it all back in. And then he said, I'm taking meds, and he did. He took meds for about a good 6 weeks, and then he got off the meds.
So it went back to normal.
It got so much worse. I mean, I got a phone call, and he was like, the person was like, you do know that your husband has planned out your murder, himself.
Okay.
You don't stay with him. And it was a really, really close friend that was a confidant. And I stayed.
You stayed even after that?
I stayed. I just got more weapons.
I think we need a whole show just for your story, Wilnona, but we're going to have to, I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. What was the point where you decided to leave the relationship and just never look back?
I wish I could tell everyone out there that I was a strong person like Kay, or I came rescuing someone like Jade. I worked, he didn't. He worked 8 days a month, and I worked. So one day I came in from work. It had been a double shift, and I went out to lunch with a friend he told me not to go out to lunch with. He got up from playing video games, which he had done all day, by the way. He got up, got his orange suitcase, put clothes in it, walked out of the living room, through to the front door. He had opened it, and then he shut it, and he was like, I just want to tell you why this is happening. He went from a size 2 to a size 6. You're getting fat. I don't deserve it, and I don't want to see how it ends. And he never came back.
So he was the one?
He left because I got fat.
Wow. So, Wilnona, do you think if he hadn't walked out that you would still be together today? Or were you coming to that point where you were like, this is it now?
I don't know. I think I'd be dead.
Yeah. Me too.
And like part of me had already made peace with that. Like I'm not gonna fail, but I am gonna die, and that's okay.
You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but did you already have maybe self-esteem issues before the relationship that you would say, maybe I don't actually deserve anything better than this, so I don't really care, I'm not going to leave, but did you have?
No, I didn't think I was gorgeous, that was a problem, but for the most part, been always a diva. I've always been a diva. And that was one of the things that he really hated about me. He was like, no matter how many days I tell you that you're ugly, or how many times I tell you that you're stupid, or how often I say you don't deserve this, you come back and you buy what I told you not to deserve. And I'm like, because I deserve it. Or you be like, oh, you're ugly. And I'll be like, sweetie, I'm finer than you on any day of the week.
Why then? Just because I know this is the question on the viewers' minds as well. Why did you put up with that for so long? And
I didn't want to fail.
Okay.
I had never really failed at anything in my life.
All right.
I wasn't going to fail at this. This wasn't going to be my first failure. I was going to succeed or die trying, literally.
Okay. But thank goodness he did leave.
He did leave, yes.
Because obviously you see things differently now.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Can you just quickly tell us how things are now, what you've achieved since then?
Oh, since then, I've written 7 books. Before I was with these ladies writing the And I Thought series, which is like 6 books long now. We have our own talk show. We have our own docuseries show.
All to help
to help other people, mostly. Just like, I think there's a gap in what society tells women they should be and what we actually need to be. It's this huge gap. When you leave high school or college, you've got all the secular things, not necessarily all the emotional things.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what we aim to do, is just fill in those blanks so you don't have to be living in fear or staying because you don't want to fail. In
terms of failure issue, is that like, have you kind of accepted now that we all fail sometimes?
Yes.
And it's okay?
I've had 8 years of continuous tryings and failing, so I think I'm good with that now.
Thank goodness for that. Guys, it's okay to fail, please. All right, Glenda, we're going to hear your story right after this break.
But the day came when he decided he was going to push my daughter around.
Okay.
Now, she's a kid. She can't defend herself, so that's my job as a mother to stand up and defend. So she made the decision for me that I had to do something different because I had to protect her.
Welcome back to today's program, everyone, where we have been speaking about surviving abuse. So we've heard some really powerful stories, and we have one more story to hear for today, and that's Glenda's story. So Glenda, can you tell us your situation?
Oh, hello, everyone. My situation was basically a marriage of 5 years. It started out wonderful, excellent, everything it could possibly be.
There's a pattern there, isn't there, starting off? Prince Charming?
Prince Charming.
Lots of lovely qualities.
Yes. Oh, excellent qualities. Went to work every day, paid everything. I got to be at home and volunteer at schools and things. But
Oh, wow.
as time go on, 3 years into it, things got crazy. He started to stay out, come home late, expect me to get out and get up and get dinner. And, you know, over those 5 years, you start to see little things, but you push them off and pay them no attention when there really are the signs of what's yet to come. So basically, he would start calling me stupid, dinner's cold, dummy. Why is dinner so cold? What is the problem? Why are you so stupid and don't understand anything? You don't know what a wife is supposed to be or do. And how can you be a decent mother when you don't know? I never said anything, you know, because I always had a strong mind. Yeah. And knew who I was and what I wanted to do and what I would accept and not accept. So I took it as long as I could because, you know, I feel like I'm an adult. My kid needs a mother and a father to grow up because I had it. So my job was to make that work for her. But here she's 4 and I'm being so verbally abused, and now all of a sudden there's a girlfriend involved and she's coming to my house and she's calling me.
His girlfriend?
His girlriend. And
she's coming to your house?
Yes.
To do what?
In my yard, to let me know that she's seeing my husband. So I go out to see, so therefore, because I come out and I answer the door, I get wailed on. I get beat and hit. And
by who?
By my husband.
He beat you?
Yes. He beat me pretty good, you know, all over my face and my head, because he was like, you know, you are pretty, but she's prettier, you know. And I was always never say anything because I already know in my mind what's going to happen and what I'm going to do. So I would stay, but the day came when he decided he was going to push my daughter around.
Okay.
Now, she's a kid. She can't defend herself, so that's my job as a mother to stand up and defend. So she made the decision for me that I had to do something different because I had to protect her. So that was the day that I went off to work like I normally do, took her to the babysitter, sit around and watched for him to go off to work. And he went off to work, and I just come on around, clean out the house, and leave the curtains and leave. Because I was not going to allow him to abuse my child and tell her this is how life is, when that's not so.
You know, I find this really interesting because it's not the first time I'm hearing like women that are in abusive relationships and they don't leave, but as soon as, you know, something happens with the child, then that you know, this strength comes that.
That's it exactly.
But why is that? Because I find that, well, okay, you love your child, but was there a lack of, even though you said you knew yourself and stuff, but one would sort of think, well, you loved your child enough to leave. Didn't you love yourself enough?
I did, but it wasn't about me because at that time I was an adult and my kid was not.
Okay, so you could defend yourself.
I could defend myself and take care of myself, but my kid could not. And I didn't want this shape to be in her mind, this picture to be in her mind, that when I get old and get married, this is the kind of man I'm supposed to have.
Okay.
I didn't want that for her.
And that decision that you made that day to leave, did you have any regrets afterwards, or was it just like, you know what, this is it, moving on?
You know, you think about it because you say, I've invested 5 years of my life. What do I have to show for it? But I know because of my kid, I must move on because things should be and need to be better for her. It was about her, bottom line. It wasn't even about me, it was about the kid that I had to protect and take care of.
But then obviously with time you saw that it was a good thing for you as well, a great thing for you.
Over time it was excellent, but you know, it didn't stop him from keep coming back. Okay. You know, that's my kid, I get to see her, I want to have her on the weekend, courts and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, he didn't get any of those things.
Okay.
So, but it's a struggle because you know you need to do it for yourself, but at the same time when there's a kid involved, you have to think that thing through because they deserve a mother and a father as well in the household growing up.
And it's not only, I mean, some people watching that haven't been through abuse might be thinking, oh, it's such an obvious decision to make. If you're going through abuse, you just leave. But there's so many things to consider. There's
Absolutely.
so many angles
so many things to consider.
It's
That's
not
right.
that easy, is it?
It's not, because in the back of your mind, you're saying, where am I going? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
What's next?
Where am I going to get this money from?
Yeah.
I think
I know there's a lot of what people talk about now. Well, he's taken my money, or my abuser has taken my money. I don't even own a car. How am I going to leave? How am I going to afford for my children or myself to eat?
Yeah.
It's better to keep a roof over their heads than to have them in the street, right?
Yes. That's it, exactly.
I think even in my case, I had inherited a business and it had been around for almost 20 years. So I had something strong to leave off of.
Yeah.
But by the time 6 to 8 weeks after the 2 months was up, I didn't have that anymore. He had taken it all, along with all the money. So even if I had thought of leaving, really, where were you going?
Yeah.
Off of $20 a month, where you can't even really get a bus ticket to get far enough away. Where are you going?
All things to consider.
So it normally starts with financial abuse, because our system puts so much emphasis on if you can't support yourself, then it's tied to your self-worth. And then they can proceed to go emotional after they've limited the financial and the freedom and the independence, because all that is tied to finances.
Wow. Glenda, how are things now for you?
Things for me now, about 20 years later, excellent grown kids, wonderful daughter, you know, off doing her thing, but life is wonderful. I've accomplished pretty much everything I applied myself to do. So life is good. And, you know, back then was just a stepping stone. And, you know, once you get out, you just have to say, okay, that was a lesson for me to learn. You know, I know what not to get into from here on when it comes to a man or a relationship.
Okay. I was actually going to ask you that question a bit later on, but in terms, I don't know how it is in the US. Are there lots of facilities now for women that are, you know, obviously the finance is a big issue, but, you know, are there things now available for women that if they do decide to leave, they don't stay because of the financial pressure? Are there services available, charities, things like that?
In the state of Maryland, where all of us are from, there is only one charity that will allow you to run and give you a place to stay. And that one charity's main focus is on homelessness. So if a homeless person needs a bed, then you're not getting to run away, even if you have a child. They'll take the child in, but they won't take you. So we work very hard on trying to make sure that changes.
Okay, brilliant. Another question, ladies. I need to ask you this because I just need to ask you this. Love, how do you see that? Relationships, you know, have you moved on from that? Do you have new partners, or is it like a no-go area? You don't have to answer, but if anyone wants to answer, please do.
Yes, I've been married about 25 years now.
Okay.
So there is love after that. You just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and decide this is what I want to do. And I'm willing to put myself out there to try it again.
Yeah. Okay, because we know not all men are the same. We know that, right? They're not.
I found somebody who really was Prince Charming after that. So you have to be willing to open up your heart and to really see things for what they are. And then you might have the opportunity to be treated the way you really ought to be treated.
Yeah, that's so
and
important.
That is...
Awesome.
It is awesome. It's one of the things I think that makes it so hard is you see that you wasted all this time with this person who really didn't care about you. Yeah. And you put up with it because you love them, and you made excuses for them because you see the hurt in their own life. But then you're treated the way you ought to be treated, and somebody who really loves you and looks at you and tells you how wonderful you are. Even though you believe it already, but to have someone else tell you what you really know you are inside, it's amazing. It's there. You just have to be patient.
You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's gonna make me
I am so not a crier. either. I don't know. But it's very special, and you just have to be willing to open up, and you can't blame every man. No. But you have to protect yourself, but you just have to kind of ride the wave.
I mean, obviously, the positive way of looking at it is that you end up really appreciating what you have now, because you know what you could have still been stuck in or
exactly.
And this is the thing I want to say as well, because this is what I want our viewers to realize, that if you are in a relationship, we want you to understand what it's like to be in a good relationship, because it's tragic when people have been through abuse and then they shut themselves off from love after that, because I know how I feel with my husband. Like, I look forward to going home. I don't tread on eggshells. We laugh, we joke. I'm not afraid of him. I'm not afraid to air my opinion. We talk about things, and women sometimes, when they've been through abuse, it's like, they're in this situation. If you don't feel comfortable, it's not meant to be that way.
Yeah.
You're meant to feel comfortable with your partner. You're meant to be happy and have a laugh and joke around and act like kids. I know you know what I'm talking about. So if you don't feel that way, something's wrong. And, this love is out there for you. You don't have to be living in this situation that you may be in now, because you are missing out. And, the sooner you can change that, the better.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer for myself.
Okay.
I've been married for almost 7 years, and I'm going to answer for Wilnona. It's been a pleasure. It's been my pleasure and privilege to see her go back to the diva that she wants to learn how to love herself again. It took some time. She took some years off, but to see her grow and to see the books and sharing our story has done for her. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
Why don't we just all cry? Just get out of the
But to see her, it has been my privilege. It has been my privilege to see all of these ladies climb back from what they were to who they were before it started.
And stronger.
I guess I don't have to answer. I thoroughly love myself. So there's a lot of love.
And you don't mind making mistakes anymore or failing anymore. Failing, like, as in, like, we're learning from life. Let's put it learning from life.
Exactly.
Yes.
Ladies, I'm so sorry, we've run out of time. I really want to continue talking to you. Lovely, lovely women, but I can't. We have to finish the show now. Thank you so much for coming on to share your stories. I know it's been quite emotional.
It's a pleasure.
We've managed to have some laughs somehow. Yeah, it will help. Just one final thing before you all go. What would be your final words to anyone watching, male or female, that's going through some kind of abuse? What would you say to them? We'll start with you, Kate.
No excuses. Don't make excuses for somebody who puts you down and doesn't value you.
Okay.
Don't make excuses for them.
I'm going to tell you that your first relationship was with yourself. Mm-hmm. You know yourself better than whoever decides to come share your life. If you're not the person that you knew and it's not a better thing, it's time to let them go.
Okay. Brilliant.
That's awesome. They have really pretty much said it. It comes down to loving yourself and knowing what you will accept and not accept. And at the end of the day, you have you. You must love you enough to take that first step.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All the best. Have a good trip back to the US. After your trip to Greece, that is. It's still got some traveling to do. Thank you so much. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program. Thank you so much for watching. I don't have time for anything else, but I'll just say bye-bye for now.